You know, the Fraser River has its challenges in certain reaches, but there's also a lot of really neat stuff going on with the success of these of stocking these fry-sized rainbow trout. They're really taking off in the Fraser and taking hold in ways that I haven't seen them do in other places. And the other neat thing about the Fraser is that every mile of this river is different than every other mile. So it really changes a lot from the headwaters to by the time it gets to the Colorado River. So, you know, every mile is different, so that's pretty cool. Same size you just got. See the white tips. One of my favorite things about these fish is the white tip on those, if I can get them to hold still. The white tip there and the white tip there on those pectoral fins.
Is that the calling card?
Yeah, it's just an indicator. Number one, it's a wild fish. You know, its fins are in great shape. You don't see that on a hatchery fish because usually the ends of the fins are rubbed off. You know, from growing up in a hatchery, and also it's just an indicator of a nice wild fish.
Nice. So this is a 2010 fish?
Yeah, so that's a 3-year-old fish up here.
3-year-old fish. How many inches they grow a year, you think?
Up here, not as fast as they do like in the Colorado. Down in the Colorado, they're growing 6 to 7 inches a year, but I think up here we're only getting 3 or 4. We've got two sizes in here right now. 2011 fish and 2010 fish. And the 2012 fish are still a little bit too small, so we're not catching them. But that's 2011 or a 2-year-old, so he's, you know, about 8 inches, but even at 8 inches, they're fun to catch.
And how big are they when you stock them?
About 1.5 inches, kind of depends on the year. Inch and a half or 2 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, so that fish had been in the river this is the 3rd growing season that fish has been in the river. And I don't think any of the fish in this section of the river are matured enough to where they spawned this year yet, but probably next year we'll have some successful reproduction here. But the goal is to get enough of these fish in here that they'll start sustaining themselves, and eventually we won't be stocking fish in here anymore, but we are stocking them at a real small size, so they're basically wild fish.
Yeah. So you think your fish are taking hold well, though?
Yeah. Definitely. These rainbows are doing well, and they're growing at a pretty decent rate, and they're occupying a lot of different kinds of habitat in the river too. So we're going to see some natural reproduction happen probably next year, maybe a little bit this year, but definitely next year for the first time, so that's exciting.
A little bit about how the rainbow population changed with the brookie population?
Well, some of the upper reaches of the Fraser, where it's colder and still in the trees, is more of a mountain stream, and it has been more of a classic brook trout stream, kind of a mountain brook trout stream, but I started experimenting with stocking some of these real small rainbows in 2010, and certain reaches that were previously 98% brook trout have now completely switched over. Just from stocking those rainbow trout fry, they are now 90% plus rainbow trout fisheries on these sections, and it really surprised me. I've never seen rainbows displace brook trout like that. I didn't really expect that to happen, but it's kind of an interesting thing. They're really taking off.
It's not bad for the fish at all, is it?
No, I mean, it wasn't necessarily my intention, but you know, there are a lot of places to go catch brook trout, for sure. There's no shortage of that. And there's a few less places to catch wild rainbows, so, you know, there's a little bit of trade-off there, for sure.
Nice.